Oh, come on. Good morning. How's everybody today? Good. I'm going to set the microphone down and take my coat off for a second. I'm Brian Jones, and the young man's going to come around the corner in just a second. It's my investigator, Joshua McLaughlin. We're from the district attorney's office. All right? Now, raise your hand if you've got a smartphone for me. All right, everybody got your hand up. Teachers too. How many of y'all got a smartphone? All right, how many of y'all use that smartphone to take photographs? All right. Of those of you who've taken that photograph, how many of y'all sent it to somebody or posted it online? Hands up, everybody. Is there anybody in the room who has not taken a photograph of themselves and posted it online or sent it to somebody? All right, those of you who had your hands up, how many of you were naked? Paying attention. That's actually why Josh and I are here today. We want to talk about something. We are having a problem with people taking naked photographs of themselves and sending them to somebody. Sending them to your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and that's against the law. All right? If you get caught with a photograph of someone who is under the age of 17, that's child pornography. And if you're charged with child pornography and you're convicted, even as a juvenile, you're going to spend the rest of your life living under this book. Okay? This is the Alabama SORNA Act. It's the Sex Offender Registration and Notification Act. All right? Girls, raise your hand if you think your dad will let you go out with a boy who's a convicted sex offender. Anybody? All right, guys, if you don't think your mothers talk to each other about the girls, you're crazy. How many of you think y'all's mothers would let you go out with a girl who's a convicted sex offender? Not a one of them, okay? In Alabama, if you're a convicted sex offender, let's say you want to go on vacation. Let's say you want to go to Gulf Shores or go camping. When you go to that other town, you have to go to the police department and register to let them know that you're in their town and that you're a sex offender. If you move before you've met a single kid in the subdivision, the minute you appear in that subdivision, they'll put notices on people's houses. So how many kids do you think are going to want to play with you, or families are going to want to play with you if you've got the label sex offender on you? And it's none. And that's one of the reasons why we want to talk about this, because there's a couple things going on, and I know, even though some of you are kind of looking at me kind of funny, I know most of you know what's going on. You've either seen some of the pictures, you've known some of the people that are posting some of these pictures, you've heard somebody giggling about it, or the rumors are going around the lunch table that something's going on. All right? The reason that Josh and I are here, and we've been coming to the different schools to talk to you about this, is for two reasons. Okay? One, I don't want to ever have to prosecute one of y'all as a sex offender. All right, that's probably one of the worst things about my job, because we've had multiple kids come to our office where we've had to sit down in front of their parents and show them what their children have been doing. And I can guarantee you the parents are not happy about it. But also the parents also get the ramifications. If you hit that button and you send that picture, what happens? If you take the picture, we had a young lady who was making a movie and did a full-length movie, and she sent it to her boyfriend. Well, of course, her boyfriend sent it to everybody he knows, and so now a good percentage of the boys in one high school all have this girl's naked movie. She's actually guilty of production and what's called dissemination, which is a lot more serious, and depending on your age, it can put you in adult court automatically. It's a big deal. Right? At this age in middle school, you guys are facing things that we never dealt with before. And when I was your age, like if I wanted to call somebody, my mother had a telephone, it was called a rotary dial. And it was a big box with a big dial on it, and you would dial that number. And my mother had avocado green. And my mother could walk the length of the house talking on that telephone to her friends. And when I was your age, if I wanted to call a girl or one of my friends, I had to sit at the kitchen table and they could listen to what we were talking about. And if I said something inappropriate or rude, my mother would walk up and slap me in the back of the head. All right? The difference is now, In that little device you have, it's a 24-hour device. You know, you go to bed, you get in the middle of the night, you're on there texting back and forth with your friends. It's hard to supervise that. So that's why we come around and we want to talk to you all about the fact that this is very, very important. That if you get one of these images, delete it. All right? How many of y'all think that if you hit something on your phone that it deletes, it goes away? On Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, Tinder, what else we got? What other social media platform am I missing? TikTok. If you hit that button, how many of y'all think when you dismiss it or delete it that it goes away? Well, it doesn't. And we can take your telephone and plug it into a computer, and I can see every single thing that's ever been on your telephone. And one of the things we're going to be looking for if we have a problem, we catch you with this material on your phones, is we're going to see what you did with it. So if you receive an image from one of your friends that you think is inappropriate, delete it. Okay? Because if we find out that you've been sending it to everybody, then you're going to have a problem. Now, the other end of this thing we want to talk about is something even more dangerous. All right? Guys, how many of y'all gotten a request, or a friend request, or Instagram, or TikTok, or something from a girl you don't know? All right? How many of y'all accepted it? All right? For the guys that put your hands down, what if the chick is really hot? I mean, really, there's a hand go back there in the back. All right? So you get a friend request, or an Instagram notice, or something. I mean, I'm talking hot. All right? Come on. Be honest, guys. Come on. Hot. I mean, we're talking hot. You're going to get those hands up. All right? How do you know it's not a dude? You don't. Okay? And that's the other aspect of the thing, what we're working on now. The actual technical term is called exploitation. All right? There's no way for you to know when you're corresponding back and forth on the internet whether the person you're talking to is actually a real person. Okay? Now, when I was sitting at the kitchen table on my avocado green phone, I had to sit there and dial the number. Okay? My mother would probably talk to their mother first, and then I'd get on the telephone. So I knew who I was talking to. All right? The difference you have now is there's no way to know the person you're on the other line. All right? And I'm going to give you a very good example. We had a young lady in Athens whose mother got concerned about her data usage. And they tried to figure out why her usage was so high. Well, it turns out she's getting up in the middle of the night and she's texting this guy, and he's got flippy hair, he's got a nice outfit, he's got a new car, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then he starts saying things to her like, well, hold up your phone or hold up your laptop, show me your room. And so she did. Then pretty soon he said, well, hey, can you get out of the house and meet me sometime? And they kind of go back and forth about that. And then he said, well, hey, will you send me some pictures? The next thing she knows, she does. And he said, well, let me have some other pictures. And it works its way down, and the next thing you know, she's sending naked pictures to the guy that she thinks is the hot guy with flippy hair. What do you think he asked her next? Come on. What do you think he asked her next? Huh? Come over. What do you think she did? She tried to sneak out. And thankfully, because her mother was paying attention, we got the telephone. And we're texting back and forth with Mr. Flippy Hair. But what Mr. Flippy Hair doesn't realize is he's texting back and forth with us now. And so we agreed to sneak out and meet him at the park. And message comes back, says, don't tell your mom and dad where you're going. And so we arranged to meet Mr. Flippy Hair at the park. And guess who showed up? Old man. 53-year-old man, pot belly. And he was very surprised to see a group of police officers sitting on the swings. Okay? Where's that guy right now?
In jail.
He's in jail. He's going to be in jail for a long time. And that's the other end of this thing, is that people that are asking you to do things online, you got to think about it. One, you got to make sure it's somebody that you actually know. It's not some creepy old dude. All right? But you've also got to think about the impact of what the image you're sending is going to have on you, your mother, father, your friends, things like that, okay? And a lot of people ask me, well, what's inappropriate? I spoke last week to a group of kids, and one of the kids asked me, he's in your age, says, well, what if I just want to take my shirt off and take a picture of myself without my shirt and send it to somebody? All right? The rule of thumb is do not take or send a photograph that you don't want to have to explain to your grandmother at Sunday dinner why you've got a picture of your butt on the internet. That's a simple rule of thumb. You know, my grandmother would get up across the table and smack me in the back of the head if I did something like that. And that's as simple as you look at a picture and you see something like that, that's a good rule of thumb. Do you want your grandmother to see that? And you have to sit across the table from her, because she's sure not going to understand why you took a picture of your butt and sent it to somebody. Do you want to have to do that? All right. The other thing also part of this is that, like I explained to y'all earlier, y'all have a challenge that we didn't have, okay? And the thing about it is, we're working a case almost one a week. Well, we've got somebody, I got a download from Snapchat this morning that we're chasing after a child molester. We're trying to catch him. And that's what he's been doing. He's been asking the girls for pictures. And he doesn't seem to understand that when he does that through Snapchat, that I can get a search warrant through Snapchat, and they will send me the images. They will send me all the conversations back and forth. And there's a group of investigators right now going through that file so we can put him in jail. If you get a picture that makes you uncomfortable, you've got to tell somebody. All right, and here's one of the things also that is, as you guys go through life, you're going to hear an expression about regret, okay? You may have a friend who's getting some of these pictures, all right? Especially you girls. You may have a friend or a sister. You know, one of the cases I'm working on right now, the older sister saw some of the stuff that was coming in on the younger sister's phone and got scared. And she told her parents came to us, and we're working that case right now. And that's one of the things about it. If you have a friend, if you get a picture that somebody sends you, or they ask for your location or your room or something that you know in the back of your mind, that's not cool, say something. All right? If you don't want to tell your mom and dad, you tell one of your teachers, or mandatory reporters, you tell your coach, okay? You see one of us out and about, when you see me at Publix, if somebody's sending you something like that, and you see Josh at Publix, or you see me at Publix, you stop one of us and say, hey man, I'm getting some pictures on my phone that I'm concerned about. And we'll get after it right then and there. All right? But even more importantly, if you have a sibling or a friend, your best friend is getting these kind of pictures, and you know that your best friend is corresponding back and forth with somebody who's wanting them to sneak out of the house at night, and you don't tell somebody, and something bad happens to them, how do you think you're going to feel? Horrible. And that's the thing about, you know, the girl that snuck out of the house could have gone any way. I mean, she'd be gone. And nobody would ever know because mom and dad are asleep. And thankfully, mom got concerned about the data usage. And it's the same thing. You guys have your own entire network of people that y'all communicate about. You know, y'all come in this lunchroom and talk about stuff. You're playing about on the ball field, wherever you are, church. You have a set of network of people that we don't necessarily have. And so we rely on y'all to see something, and you're like, that's not good. We need you. We need your help because we're trying to keep you safe. And two, we're trying to get some of these people off the street because they're bad people. That's why we're trying some of these cases, because we're trying to send them to prison. You know, unfortunately, last year before COVID shut us down, That's what we were trying for all these child molestation cases. Because we're trying to get these people off the street so they can't hurt anybody. And so that's why we reach out to y'all as well. We want to warn you, don't do it. 2, we want to warn you, say, look, watch out for it. And 3, we're seeking your help to stop some of these people and save one of your friends' lives. Okay? The other thing I want to talk about, we try to come up with just something simple to get it across, is a simple concept called be nice. All right? Does anybody not understand the concept of be nice? All right. Going back to the telephone, when I was your age, if I'm sitting in the telephone talking to somebody on that avocado green phone, and I said something ugly, I called somebody fat or stupid, or I said something derogatory about them, I was with an earshot of my parents. And I can guarantee my mother would come up out of that chair and whack me in the head. But the difference is with you guys now, y'all have 24-hour access to putting something online that says something ugly about somebody. And we've come across some stuff lately that I'm really surprised, and I can tell how old the people are by the words they use. And part of the thing about wanting to talk to you about being nice is just like sending a picture on the internet. When you post something on the internet threatening somebody, or calling them fat, or calling them stupid, or whatever the word is, it never goes away. And we can find it. All right? But also, one of the things you got to understand, if somebody punches you in the nose, your nose is going to hurt for a while and it's going to go away. One of the things, as you guys get older, you're going to discover that certain things that are said to you are a lot worse than anybody punching you in the nose. All right? And that's what one of the things is about being nice. Because we've come across a couple of things lately that I'm really astounded that people are going to put something like that online. Because one of the things about this is the thing about being online is that you're more apt to say something to somebody because you're not face to face. You know, I'm a public official. People say bad things to me all the time online because they don't like something we do. That's part of the job, okay? But being in middle school and having somebody wearing you out because they don't like your outfit on the internet, that's not cool. Because the thing about it is when you unleash that threat or you unleash that comment about somebody, I want you to look at the big picture. It's not just a set of words. You're sending something out that's worse than punching somebody in the face. In fact, some of the people who are receiving some of these items would probably really rather that you punch them in the face. And the thing about it is, when you send that negative comment out about somebody, it never goes away. Every time that person opens up that Snapchat account, they're going to see what you said about it. Then the friends are going to see it. Then their friends and your friends, and people start ganging up on them. Saying bad things about people will hurt them more than punching them in the nose. I mean, and you're like, you maybe look at me like, oh, I don't know what he's talking about. I'm about to turn 53 years old. And I have been doing this job. I have seen all sorts of stuff. I've had all sorts of experiences. But I can still remember one particular person when I was in middle school, what she said to me. I can still hear that voice after all these years. And it's the same thing, because one of the things is if somebody's out there and you're picking on somebody or you're saying bad things about them online, there's a thing called karma. All right? What goes around comes around. And the way things go, y'all start targeting this particular kid, picking on them because you don't like their clothes, you don't like the way they behave, or whatever it is. You need to remember that it can very easily change tides, and the group mentality says, well, hey, we picked on this one enough, we're going to move on, and we're going to pick you. The next thing you know, you're the one at home getting all these nasty comments, because we can see some of them in some of the message boards, what some people have been saying about each other in this school and the high school. That's another reason why I am standing here right now, because I'm asking you to be nice. Because the thing about it is some of the comments are getting to the point where we're going to get involved. And Then you're going to be sitting across the desk from me or from Josh or from a police officer having to explain to your mother and father or your grandparents or whoever you live with why you're on the internet calling that person those kind of names. Okay? So that's why it comes back to just something simple. Be nice. Right? Does anybody not understand that concept? All right. Next, does anybody have any questions? You sure? Positive? Okay. Anybody got a question? First person that ever wants to raise their hand with a question. Last week we were here, I think it's almost 40 minutes worth of questions. So I know you're going to have a question. If somebody needs to raise their hand, be the first one. Then it'll come out like a tidal wave. Josh, you got a question?
Talk about sending pictures and those kind of things. How can someone's social media account affect the future or employment?
That's a very good question. If y'all didn't hear Josh, he asked, we've been talking about the pictures, how can your social media account affect your future? All right. I just got a resume from a young lady who graduated from the University of Alabama School of Law. She sent me a writing sample, had top grades, you name it. I mean, a very impressive packet that came in the door. The very first thing I do when I get a resume is we go through the social media profiles. After looking at her social media profile, what do you think I did with her resume? Throw it away. Didn't even consider. Didn't even write a letter saying thank you for the resume. Because what I saw, that what she had been posting on her page, there's no way that I'm going to hire somebody to be in a district attorney's office who's going to behave like that and put it online. And it's the same thing. Okay? Some of the stuff that y'all put online, when y'all start applying for tech school, college, scholarship programs, they're going to look at that. There's going to be somebody in an admissions office, private school, college, you name it. They're going to look at your social media history. They're going to look at Snapchat. They're going to look at all, because you may think it's private. It's not. It's astounding what you can Google. Or if you've got a master account, it's astounding what you can find through that. And so that's one of the things that as you go through, don't do it. Very simple. Okay? Any other questions? All right, come on. Everybody understood every single thing I just said, not a single question. All right, last chance. All right, well, I appreciate you letting us come today. Got a question? You need to tell anybody. Tell an adult, tell a parent, grandparent, if you're in school, tell one of the teachers, tell one of the counselors, tell your coach, anybody. All right, if you're at church and tell the preacher at church. It's just anybody that as an adult can relay that information to us. Okay? And that's the thing about it. One of the things that was said to me was like, well, I don't want to be a snitch. Okay? You're not being a snitch. You may very well be saving somebody's life. All right? Also, you may be saving somebody from doing something dumb. All right? We want to make sure you understand. Okay? And that's one of the things that's like, we don't want to preach at you and talk at you. We're trying to talk to you. Because the thing is, we're trying to navigate this with y'all just as well. Because I didn't have this as a kid. I'm learning this, my oldest is in college, and so we kind of missed that age. My youngest, he's in second grade. So hopefully some of this stuff will be gone by the time he gets to be your age. So you guys are kind of the test market. And so that's what I said, we're trying everything that works, because what we've been seeing and some of the things we've been doing are not working. Judging by what he and I just saw on a computer Friday, I need to start talking louder. Maybe start going to some of the schools and shouting at the top of my lungs to get the point across. Okay? So again, if you see one of us out, you see us at Publix, the ball field or something like that, and you know about something, or you have a question that you don't want to ask in this room in front of everybody else, stop me. Okay? Unfortunately, I'm in Publix probably every day. So you probably won't catch me in Walmart, you usually catch me in Publix, or if you just see me out and about, stop me and say, hey man, I've got a problem. And we're gonna get all over it almost instantaneously. All right, any other questions? All right, well, you guys have a good day, okay?